Subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss another video of Bhakti Charu Swami.
So, and how the brahmacharis, how come the white ones are what? Undecided? Huh?
Newly joined Guru Maharaj, so
I'm seeing them. Vasudev is not newly joined. You are not newly joined. When did you join?
he's new.
11 months.
11 months. So why are you still wearing white? Anyway, the color is not so important. At heart you have become brahmachari. What is the meaning of the word brahmachari?
One acts on spiritual platform.
Yes. Brahma acharati iti brahmachari. Brahma means spiritual platform, spiritual world. So when one is situated in that spiritual platform, he is a brahmachari. And when one becomes a brahmachari, then automatically naturally he becomes a celibate. Celibacy is not the goal of brahmachari. Celibacy is the side effect of brahmacharya. What actually happens when one takes to spiritual life? When one takes to spiritual life, then his vital energy. You see, our spinal column is very important. Spinal column, Merudanda, spinal column is through which all our nervous system is connected. And where is ultimately going the nervous system? Brain center. Head. If you look at the thing, structure from head, one column is coming down. The spinal cord is coming down. The spinal cord is running through the vertebral column. And from the spinal cord comes out the different nerves. There are two types of nervous system. One is called Ira and the other is called Pingala. They are actually running through them. One is receiving information to the brain and other is conveying information from the brain. That is how our nervous system is running. So you can see our consciousness is very much connected to our spinal column. The consciousness is very much connected to the spinal column. And spinal column ends in a small little bone. Looks like a triangle. That is the seat of the vital energy. That is called Muladhara. And then our body, there are different organs in the body. Like next to that, if we take that base of the spinal column, next to that, what organ is there? Genitals. Right? Above that. Then above genitals is navel. Above navel, the heart. Above heart is the throat. Then the eyes. And then the head, which is the brain center. Now generally the energy rises from the base, Muladhara, up. With most of the living entities, especially with animals, they rise only from base to the genitals. And who is that? Close the door, like once the thing starts, class starts, nobody should come late. Close it, lock it up. What's the point in coming late in such classes? What will you understand if you miss the first part? Now you see how the animals run. How is their body? Their body is like this, right? Only human beings have the body like this, straight. Why? Because human beings have the ability to make that vital energy run upwards. Now what happens, not only with animals, with most of the human beings, the vital energy goes out through the genitals in the form of semen. Wasted, lost, gone out of the body. But when one practices spiritual life, then the vital energy rises above the genitals. So rising above the genital means no more sex life. Now the yogis, through yoga practice, they try to make it right. And as it rises from one chakra to another, then they get the siddhis, mystic power. But the mystic powers are actually temptations. Like you take the mystic power, like normal people, they lose through discharge of semen. But the yogis, if they take the mystic power, then they lose the energy. And then finally, it comes to the brain center. The brain center has been described as Sahasrara. Sahasrara means 1,000 petal lotus. So that is the goal of a yogi. But is that the end? What is the 1,000 petal lotus? What is Krishna's abode like? Brahma Samhita is describing Sahasrapatra Kamalam Gokulakham Mahapadam. They reach that region, and only a devotee can see what is there on that lotus. Okay, then yogis try to make it rise. But with a devotee, what happens? With a devotee, a devotee doesn't practice any yoga. With a devotee, due to his bhakti, this energy rises. That's why for a devotee it is much easier. When you love Krishna, you automatically lose interest in sex life. Is it happening as brahmacharis? Losing interest? Now mind you one thing, we follow 4 principles. Meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and sex, illicit sex. Let's consider sex life. Just sex life. Now the 3 things, as we practice, we lose taste. Many of you were meat eaters before, or fish eaters. Now do you feel any inclination for fish or meat? Many of you may have been taking intoxicants. Do you feel any inclination for that? Many of you may have been attracted to gambling. Do you feel any interest in gambling? With time, as we practice, we lose the three things, we lose taste for them. But that's not the case with sex desire. The more you abstain, the stronger that becomes. That's the only thing. That as you abstain, the desire becomes stronger. But how can you control that urge? Through devotion. That's why devotion is the only way. You develop your love for Krishna, then automatically you lose interest. Why? Because by getting the higher taste, you lose attraction to the lower taste. Actually, I think whenever I meet with the brahmacharis, don't I remind you of that? This? Is it important? No? That's why, it's important that we remind. Becomes very good brahmacharis. And then what will happen? Ultimately it's a matter of retaining this energy, vital energy. You can call it a spiritual energy. The more you retain the spiritual energy, the more you will develop the divine qualities. You know that verse? Jashasti Bhakti Bhagavad Kinchana Sarvai Gunais Tatra Samasati. Sarvai Gunais Tatra. All divine qualities become manifest when one develops devotion to Krishna. Why? Because you are not wasting this vital energy, you are retaining the vital energy. And it is due to that your intelligence will increase, your will increase, your other such qualities, like the hearts will become rich. Simple words. Then all good qualities, compassion, mercy, tolerance, they all will become. So that is the real brahmacharya life. Become a devotee of Krishna and all the divine qualities will become. Sarvai gunais tatra samasati. But there is no artificial means to do that. It will happen naturally. Today's world is very dangerous. Like, sometimes I get the report that some devotees are watching some not so nice programs. I don't blame them, because what happens, like you go into the internet and something just crops up. Right? And yes, mind become attracted to that. So try to curb those tendencies for your own benefit. For your own benefit. Because this is Maya. Maya means what? She is trying to take you away from Krishna. Today's world is full of that. The whole world is so many programs. Actually, some are doing in a gross way, some are in a subtle way. Like when you go out and see some billboard or some advertisement, you see beautiful half-naked woman. What's that? That's subtle injection of Satan. So how can you control that? How can you control that temptation? Is there any need to control that temptation? Overcome that temptation? Do that with your Krishna consciousness. Do that by remaining in good association. Like Prabhupada told me that the way to control that urge is only good association. This material nature is very strong. Maya can make one fall down. The only thing that can protect is sadhu sangha, association with devotees. And Prabhupada explained that Maya is very strong. Mama Maya Durattaya, Durattaya, insurmountable, difficult to overcome. Because Daivihesha, this is Krishna's image, Krishna's potency. Now Maya is Krishna's potency, but Maya is Krishna's external potency, inferior image. But association of devotees is Krishna's superior image. So when you are in the shelter of Krishna's superior energy, you will be able to overcome the influence of inferior image. And Mame Bhaje Prapadante, Krishna is saying. What is Mame Bhaje Prapadante? Mame Bhaje Prapadante means association, spiritual association. You surrender unto Krishna, but if you don't have association with devotees, it will be very, very difficult. I have seen so many very advanced, exalted devotees fell down. Sannyasis fell down. Gradually. Some fell down immediately, all of a sudden, just like that. But I've seen some very strict, sincere devotees. Gradually they fell down. Because they were not in the association of devotees. Like I'll give an example of one of my godbrothers. There's a very strict sannyasi. After Prabhupada left, I heard that he left ISKCON. But he left ISKCON, but he is staying in the house of a devotee's father. They have another house next to, like in America, sometimes they have two houses. One main house and the other the small house. They have mainly they keep less important people. So he was staying there and he is very fixed up. He has his deities, he has his Shila, he is worshipping. And I thought, what is this? Then after some time I inquired about him, how is he? Well, he has gone to the university to study law. But he is very strict. He is still worshipping deities and things for his own personality. Then, after some time I inquired, how is he? He is not staying there anymore, but he is staying near the university. And then next thing I heard that he has completed his studies and he has become a lawyer's assistant. To practice law, you have to first become an assistant. And then I heard, yes, he is going out with a girlfriend. Next thing I heard, he got married. So see, it took a few years because he was so strong, so fixed up. It took him some time, but gradually. See why? Because he was not in the association with it. But when you are in the association of devotees, then even though we may be very weak spiritually, but we remain fixed. Isn't it? So this is how we have to see the importance of association with devotees. And remain in the association of devotees favorably. And make sure that don't commit any offense. Don't commit any offense means have very nice relationship with them. If you have good relationship with each other, then even if there is some offense, that won't matter. If you have a good relationship, then does it matter? Someday somebody comes and tells you, hey, you did this, you did that, but then after 5 minutes you forget. Oh, I'm sorry, Prabhu. In that respect, there is another very nice example. If somebody kicks in your chest, isn't that the most offensive thing to do? Now consider the child on the lap of the mother is kicking the mother on the chest. What to speak of offense? The mother loves it to get these kicks from her little child. So this is how, relationship, in relationship there is no offense. So, of course, that doesn't mean that you should keep on committing offenses. So, become very, very fixed up. Practice the process very nicely, render your service, and always remember why you came to Krishna consciousness. Never forget that. Why did you all come to Krishna consciousness? To make spiritual advancement. So become very good devotees. And as I said, like brahmachari life will become very, very blissful. Actually, Prabhupada, at the beginning of my relationship, with him, one day I was sitting in front of him and he was having a massage. I told you about this incident before. And Prabhupada just started to speak to me or tell me things. That for many, many lifetimes you are trying to enjoy. But you can see you're still not satisfied. Just offer this life to Krishna. Just offer this life to Krishna. You're trying to enjoy. But you can see that you're still not satisfied. Why not just offer this life to Krishna? Wake him up. And then he said that this material nature is a prison house of sex desire. In an ordinary prison, people are tied up with chains. In this prison house of sex material nature, how we are tied up? How is everybody tied up here? Sex desire. Now, how can you conquer this sex desire? By being situated in knowledge and by developing a loving relationship with Krishna. Because when you develop your loving relationship with Krishna, automatically heart will become free from sex desire. Medicine for Hridrog, heart disease. What is the real heart disease? Not blockage of heart. The real heart disease is sex desire. That desire is healing. So, become very good brahmacharis. It doesn't matter what's the color of your cloth. Become very good devotees. Okay, does anybody have any question?
Guru Maharaj, sometimes some sincere students in the base, sometimes some sincere students in the sincere students in the base wish to join brahmachari ashram, but they suffer from the problem of masturbation. It may not be very frequent, but maybe in once in 2-3 months like that. So should they be given opportunity?
So, tell them what I told you today.
Despite of that,
This energy, vital energy, and yoga, it is called kundalini. This energy is coiled up. Kundalini means
Coiled.
So at the base of the spinal column is coiled up. And it rises, sometimes it rises, his head rises only up to genitals. That's why they think this is the highest form of pleasure. Sex life, the highest form of pleasure. But we have to make it rise. Why lose the energy? Because if you lose it, then how will it go up? And offenseless chanting, and so anyway, give them proper understanding so that they automatically give up. And as I was saying, like the Maya is so strong. And the thing is that, another way to look at it, like, okay, if you can't control it, get married. Get married, and this is how your sex life will be regulated. Making sense? সবাই বুঝতে পারছো? I think Yogesh had difficulty understanding. Somebody should explain. কে বলতে পারবে? তুমি যোগেশকে বুঝিয়ে দিও আমি কি বলেছি। এত বছর ইসকনে, কত বছর ইসকনে আছো তুমি যোগেশ?
2004 থেকে।
হ্যাঁ
2004
থেকে 15 বছর হয়ে না। ইসকনে কত বছর? এখানে তো 2004 এখানে ডাইরেক্ট প্রথম জয়েন করেছিল। আচ্ছা, তো 15 বছরে ইংরেজি কি শিখলে? হ্যাঁ 15 বছর তুমি পিএইচডি হয়েছে। Everybody make it a point to learn English. Learning a language is not difficult if you make an effort. Go ahead.
So my question is, how does the service to the cows has become better brahmachari?
How, you see, cow and human beings have a very good interrelationship. Just consider the spiritual world is the world of cows. Golok. Golok, what's the meaning of the word? World of cows. What is the occupation of the residents of spiritual world? Gopas. Their business is to take care of cows. What the Supreme Personality is doing? Gopal, Govinda, giving pleasure to the cows. So the spiritual world, Krishna is associated with the cows. Now Krishna has given us his form. This form is actually Krishna's form. And this earth planet looks like Golok. Only thing is made of matter. We look like Krishna. Only difference is we have made of this appearance is made of matter. It's a world of matter, but like we are so fortunate that we have forms like Krishna. And so with human being, when he gave us the form like his, he also gave us the cows. Therefore, our human relationship with cows is very, very important. The more we develop our connection with cows, more we will flourish. One may not be able to understand that, but another way to look at it is, did you ever see the relationship between us and the trees? Our existence is dependent upon trees. Our food is coming from the trees and plants, right? Oxygen is coming from the trees and plants. They are breaking the carbon dioxide and giving us oxygen. So this is how you can see how our existence is relative to trees. Just as our existence is related to the trees, in a much deeper way, our existence is related. That's why we should take care of the cows. Deal with the cows. Lead our life with the cows. It should not be only Yogesh's monopoly. Everybody should have access to the cows.
Because every day he goes to Goshala and sells them. Without fail.
How do you feel?
I feel very nice. I heard from his conclusion rules, like he said that if we don't utilize all the gifts given by a cow, such as including cow dung and cow urine, then to maintain the goshala will become more and more difficult to the point that they start appearing like burden. And it is also very important to engage the bulls in irrigation, in agriculture. So what can we do to realize this?
Let the managers get a lot of money, buy a large piece of land, and then we'll have a big goshala there. Anyway, I'm just telling you, now you see how you can make it happen. Like, yes, it's artificial the way the cows are, 50 cows here. That's why time and time again I'm saying that. And why the cows are here? Because you all don't have to go there. Isn't it? Go means Nalva. Why not have our main Goshala there? And why not many of you just go and spend time with the cows? That will be the real way of spending time with the cows. If you eventually, it'll be nice if you can buy another large piece of land, maybe we have there about 10 acres. 10 acres is large, quite large piece, for about 50, 60 cows. But you have to think in terms of future how to deal with that. Control the cow production. কতগুলো গরু 15টা গরু বছরে কটা গরু দিচ্ছে বাচ্চা দিচ্ছে
এখন মনে করতে হয়েছে হয়তো বছরে 30টা বাচ্চা ধরে
বছরে 30টা বাচ্চা তাহলে when we keep in 10 years time you'll have 300 cows. What will you do with them? So systematically, this is what I am suggesting. Systematically you consider stop production of cows. 30 cows a year. Don't, এখন আর ইয়ে করো না, just make it a point, no more insemination. Even if you don't get any milk from them, at least let them live properly. Like, and think about it, in a compassionate way. Like if 55 of you had to stay in a small little place like that, how would you feel? So stop, go to here, our party. And let me see if I can get some large piece of land somewhere nearby. The price of land is becoming so high, so expensive. Okay, so everyone, did you learn something?
Yes.
Did the managers learn something? Okay, thank you. You see, like, I'm depending upon you that, like, you can manage things properly. Do that, manage it properly. Krishna is sending so many facilities, so many devotees are coming, engage them nicely. Send them out in book distribution. Books are, Prabhupada said, like, like, no matter how many devotees we have, we won't have difficulty taking care of them because everybody can go out and distribute. And nobody should be staying idle. Right? That's one thing that we have to see. Everybody has proper engagement. ISKCON standard is at least 6 hours of service everybody must spend. Minimum 6 hours. Army world, how many hours? They do 8, 9. Sometimes they work for 12 hours. Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. So, Krishna Mukunda, how is everything? Yeah, happy to be back? Okay. Well, after some time you'll be missing those days in daylight. What about you, Rishabh? Very good. Thank you. Hare Krishna.